The fight. It is something people living along Humboldt Parkway know all too well. Decades ago, this expressway was built, basically ripping apart a neighborhood. As Nate Benson tells us, now people living here are talking about restoring it and what changes lie ahead.
In post-war America, expressways were the desired infrastructure projects for state and federal planners. Between the late 1940s through the 50s and 60s, thousands of miles of multi-lane highways were built, sometimes near urban centers, sometimes through them. Buffalo was no different than the rest of the country. Planners believed they needed to move people in and out of the city as quickly as possible. The first mention of the Kensington Expressway by the State Department of Public Works was in 1946. And from the very beginning, the Humboldt Parkway was the targeted destination for the expressway, a vibrant neighborhood and part of Frederick Law Olmsted's parkway system in the Queen City. Brother Clifford Bell and Terrence Robinson have lived in the neighborhoods adjacent to the Kensington Expressway for most of their lives, including before it was built.
It was a great community. People lived in there and bought things in there and served in there, and it did well. It was doing well.
A park-like setting where we played touch football, where we walked down, where you had a little respite. And even when you weren't on it, it was the parkway.
In the early 1950s, the Humboldt Parkway was a diverse melting pot of ethnic groups.
The area we moved into was predominantly German and Italian.
It was a multicultural, diverse neighborhood.
But post-war expansion of the suburbs ignited an exodus of Buffalo proper in the early 1950s as well.
My first grade class was maybe 85–90% white. And then by the time of 8th grade, it was probably 80% African-American black. Boom, transition in 5–6 years.
In February 1954, a bold announcement by New York State detailed plans for a Kensington Expressway, a multi-lane highway that would allow for tens of thousands of vehicles to get in and out of the city.
I said, well, why are they going to do that?
And almost immediately after the plan was announced,
folks that knew about this development got a chance to sell their property and move out, so that we began to buy in and found out after the fact that there was going to be an expressway put through there.
Despite some opposition to the plans in 1954, the city unanimously approved the state's plan. By 1957, demolitions of homes along the parkway began, and construction of the expressway lasted until 1971. Over 630 homes were torn down, and the Olmsted Parkway system was altered forever.
It's changed the whole atmosphere in the community because we lost the potential for growth, because a lot of the people that were spending money and had money were leaving.
70 years after the initial plans for the Kensington were introduced by the state, another project is being proposed, aimed at reconnecting the Humboldt neighborhood that the highway tore up. The plans have the community divided, but the billion-dollar plan to cap and tunnel 4,100 feet of the expressway will add 11 new acres of green space while maintaining current traffic levels in and out of the city. And even though there are supporters and detractors, no one can deny it's a far cry from what was here before.
And when I can think of all of the people that grew up here, people that were Buffalo, and they wipe it out.